are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Welcome to another corporate events coverage, and this time around, BATV's Day Conference dubbed A Call to Action, Driving Financial Inclusion with Digital Payments. I'm Javon Keys, and I'll be your host. Stay with us.
The DBJ is really proud to be associated with this event. With a focus that we have on driving the economy by looking at the role that we all have to play in championing Jamaica through each of our line of businesses, each sector, and each person, it is indeed appropriate, I think, that the theme of this conference is a call to action. Each representative in this room was not invited by coincidence. It was by assessing the vision that as to where we are, where we need to be, and who are the instrumental players needed to help us in this journey. And so it makes sense that the DBJ and the Bank of Jamaica would collaborate in this area. The DBJ, as most of you probably know, is mandated to provide opportunities for all Jamaicans, regardless of their social status, to improve the quality of their lives through developmental financing. The Bank of Jamaica is responsible for creating and managing the monetary policy that affects every Jamaican and every financial institution in the country. Therefore, coming together to hold a conference on financial inclusion and digital payments, we see as a logical development of our relationship with the BOJ. But why is financial inclusion so important and digital payments that it merits a two-day conference? I believe it is important because when you look at the world's poor, including many Jamaicans, they live and work in what is known as the informal economy. Yet even though they have very little money, they still manage to save, borrow, and meet their day-to-day expenses. However, without access to the formal financial system that allows savings account, debit card, insurances, lines of credit, they rely instead on informal means of managing money. And these include, as we all know, family, friends, cash on hand, pawnbrokers, money lenders, or simply keeping it under the mattress. But, as we all know, these choices are almost always inefficient, risky, and expensive. And therefore, we encourage those who are regarded as the unbanked to become a part of the formal financial system, as it will provide benefits to the individual as well as on a national level. Simply put, we become part of something that is so much bigger. My presentation this morning focused on financial inclusion, which really, and in particular, how do we get that significant section of our economy that is unbanked into the formal financial system. A significant part of our economy, of the persons who contribute to our economy, are still in the informal sector. We need to get them into the formal sector so they can access the benefits that would come with being a part of the formal financial system. So our role really is to encourage them, to educate them, to show them the benefits that can be derived from being a part of the formal sector. And in so doing, utilize the payment mechanisms that is going to be discussed here today. For example, the whole matter of mobile payments, digital payments, and other benefits that they would derive from coming into the formal financial system.
We are convinced that through this conference we can begin to build awareness and continue the conversation about the issues and challenges that must be resolved as we strive to develop and provide payment products and services to satisfy the needs of the average Jamaican consumer. We also see the need for tailored financial literacy programs that are integral to Jamaica's transition to the status of a digital economy. Over the next 2 days, we will engage in vibrant discussions on how innovations in electronic retail payments can impact Jamaica's development and how regulation can foster innovation. We will take an in-depth look at the risks and opportunities associated with digital payments, and most importantly, discuss how public-private partnerships can create a sustainable ERPS ecosystem. We will hear from our authorized ERPS issuers their experience with electronic retail payments. We will also hear from a micro-entrepreneur on how electronic payments can help to grow his business. It is anticipated that arising from these discussions, we will all have a renewed commitment to the development of the ecosystem to promote the use of digital products and to unlock the potential economic benefits associated with increased digitization of the economy. Ladies and gentlemen, I declare the conference open, and with the wish that our deliberations will be fruitful. Thank you very much.
Driving financial inclusion through digital payments, that's what we're about today. The idea is to bring the regulators, the facilitators, along with some of the business partners into the discussion. And coming out of the dialogue today, hopefully we'll have a clear idea as to some of the challenges that are being faced by the various stakeholders. And we here at the Bank of Jamaica, we're about fashioning regulatory strategies to enable business, enable the growth and development of the financial sector. And we think that through engagement of our stakeholders, we will get certain insights which will assist us in discharging our responsibilities as a higher level of effectiveness. Well, the second day is going to be a little more of the same, but looking at perspectives of different stakeholder groups. Tomorrow what we want to do is pay a little bit more attention to some of the options, the opportunities that are available as we seek to unlock the growth potential in the sector. I think the major challenge that we face is designing products and services that satisfy the needs of the average consumer. And I think that has to be an area of focus for us. I'm not convinced that the taxi operator, for example, has the products and services that he needs to be more efficient and to reduce his cost. I'm not convinced. And I think that there are opportunities for us to, better serve the needs of consumers such as the taxi operator. And I'm hoping that coming out of the discussions over the next 2 days, that we'll be exploring those, issues.
And on that note, we go to a break. Stay with us. Much more after this.
Home is where all the sweetness, silliness, and beauty of life happens. Discover your style and express yourself with furniture from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Visit any of our 2 locations at Ligony Kingston or Fairview Montego Bay. Find the most exquisite range of furniture in varying styles to suit your needs. So tell your story with elegant and affordable lounge, bedroom, dining pieces, and more from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Here at Ashley, this is home.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now let's join our presenter on stage.
The strategy of mobile payments, we think, is a win-win for financial inclusion. And let me explain a little bit this. If there is a country that goes directly to mobile payments without having gone through the previous stages of digital finance or buying through the internet, through traditional landlines, through the internet providers in general, we see internationally that the improvements go 10 times faster. So digital payments, mobile payments have two interesting notions for consumers. One, that they provide payments in real time. Second, that are cheaper. What's there not to like, right? And what do we think is a win-win strategy for the different actors? First, for the unbanked, of course. If you do not have a banking account, and I've heard that roughly in Jamaica maybe it can be around 80% of the population, 70, 80%. But nevertheless, almost 100% have a mobile phone. So that brings opportunities, right? They will see that by starting paying over the phone, they are building a data, and they exist in the virtual economy of financial transactions. So they can be later provided with some insurance or offered some small credit line to buy electronically, and that's what happened precisely in China, where the e-commerce has brought all these payments. It's a win-win strategy for digital financial providers, and we saw that we are not talking about the traditional ones, the banks, but also new active players that now they can be interested, like fintech companies, startups, e-commerce, internet providers, to finance and to bank this new market share that represents almost 80% here. For the public sector, because they can use it also to different things. I mean, people can use it to pay taxes. The public sector can use it to provide benefits, welfare benefits through the digital accounts, and to other ends. So Bill Gates already said in 1995, we need banking, not banks. Interesting. That's what's happening now. Banking is not a monopoly of the banks. It's a much bigger concept now. So we've seen in the recent years that this has been very true, because we've seen the fintech activities, so the advancement of technology and the open platforms has made possible that new players come to offer financial services.
Banking is it's a concept that is changing. So banks are from traditional banking to digital banks and other actors that are coming. Bill Gates said in 1995, we need banking, not banks, and this is becoming very true. I mean, we see a lot of financial disintermediation and fintechs, big techs, internet giants getting into the financial sector. That's from observance to what's going on in China, in India, and in other countries. This is a win-win strategy for consumers, for unbanked population, because they see that they can have access to more products. If start doing payments, then they can build transactional data, and this data is embedded into the system, and they can be sold other products. And this is a win-win strategy for the digital financial services providers, because they have access to population that has mobile phones, but they don't have a bank account. And finally, this is a win-win strategy for regulators, because they can use these systems also to provide welfare benefits, payments, payrolls, and they can be used to pay taxes, and so the traditional concept of banking is changing. And if the countries like Jamaica that didn't have a previous digital strategy that includes using landline services, it is well researched that the countries that go mobile first or mobile only, the improvements are 10 times faster, which is good news also. In terms of safety, it's very important to collaborate with the financial inclusion programs. They collaborate with financial literacy. They need to be aware of what are the different methods that they can use, and it's driven also by a good, like the Bank of Jamaica is doing and has in their agenda to promote financial literacy, to promote the use of these new ways to conduct business and through the mobile in a safe way for consumers, in the sense that they can they can avoid fraud, or they cannot be hacked, or they cannot be put at risk. So they need to know better how to do it. But having been said, these are very easy to use ways. So for example, the social media messaging apps like WhatsApp is getting into payments. So what they are trying to do is to be very friendly used, and the consumer is at the center of the product. So you can use your app to pay, to buy cinema tickets, to use for taxes, to pay your taxes, to different things. So they are trying to do it so that it's very user-friendly.
We take our final break, but don't go anywhere. We have more highlights for you after this. Thanks for staying with us. Now for more highlights.
GK&Pay really have quite a few functionalities, and I think one of the things I've learned this morning is the use of collaboration, because I can see how easily we can collaborate with SMEs and other persons here. So basically, our functionalities allow us to load remittances to phone, and we must say here that we're one of the only mobile payment solution that can do that. So for instance, you walk into our Western Union location, and you can load the cash that you would now take out of that location onto your phone, right? So the functionality, as you see, is there. We do telephone top-up, so you can top up your phone, whether it's Line, Digicel, Flow. You can also pay your bills, because as I would have said earlier, we have a bill payment entity. So you can pay from any one of our existing biller listing. We have peer-to-peer transactions where you can send money to other persons. So I'm here today, I need to pay my helper, how do I pay her? I basically send her transfer. If you notice, we talked also about what is going to make the customer change. Our portal allows us to have rewards. So basically, if you sign on as a merchant, you can offer discounts. So why use GK&Pay? You also have rewards. So if you look, you see a number 2 there. It means currently when you would open your phone and look at your phone, you basically have 2 coupons there from 2 merchants that you can now redeem. I think it's important that we talk about security, because it was also mentioned the issue of lack of trust. Why should I use my phone? Is it safe? In developing our product, that was something we had to take into consideration. So in terms of using it, you have a PIN. You have to use a PIN to get on. You have to use a PIN to complete your payment. When you go into our self-serve portal, which is again helping you to basically help yourself through this new journey that you're on in terms of becoming digital, there is a self-serve or customer portal that is self-serve. And of course, it's encrypted. If you leave your phone, it's locked, right? If you lose your phone, you do not lose your money. And I think that's also very important that we have to educate our consumers on. If you lose your phone, it's even safer than if you have lost your wallet or if you have lost your credit cards or your debit card. There's not this long process. You call the call center and you reactivate your phone. So the issue of security and development was integral in terms of the platform that we developed. So what were some of the challenges we were facing in terms of GK&Pay? And I heard it again from the previous presenter, the idea of educating our customers. There is still this lack of trust for the technology. You know, do I really trust that my money is going to be on my phone, that I'm going to be able to use it when and where I want to use it? What if I lose it? So how do we truly get our customers to embrace this new technology? We also have to educate them that it's safer, you know, to use the phone. I have in the audience, we invited the head of the Taxi Association here today, Alan Blair, right? And one of the things we've been saying is, as taxi men, collecting, how is it safe for you to be on the road all time of night with money on your body? So we're also promoting safety, but still we were having a challenge. So customers, merchants were really not accepting that this is a new norm. So we have launched GK Pay. I want to go to KFC, but KFC is saying, what is GK Pay? What's in it for me? And the customers are saying, I can't go anywhere and cash out, so why should I get GK Pay? So again, it was interesting to see the two approaches in terms of top-down, bottom-up, and which do we think is best for Jamaica, because there's going to have to be, I believe, a regulatory push to get persons on board, right? So the issue of onboarding our merchants, our agents, our customers is truly a challenge. Which come first, the chicken or the egg? So what do we need? We definitely need education, public awareness, not only of our customers, but also our consumers. We really, again, I said, would like to thank the BOJ for this type of symposium, because we do think it's building awareness. However, we think it has to go much more than that. It has to reach to the public in terms of saying, I have confidence in this system. I'm validating this new payment system for Jamaica. It's how Jamaica is truly going to have a digital economy. So we truly need that endorsement from the Bank of Jamaica. We need integration with our payment system, with our banking system. So if you think about it, the taxi man, he collects his $100,000 for the night. What does he want to do? And we talk about financial inclusion. He wants to put that money in his bank account, right? So right now he would have to go and cash out. We're saying he should be able to go to FGB, NCB, and lodge his monies to his bank account. And we think this is another integral takeaway of a symposium like this. We really need our consumer to be able to be bankable. And if we talk about true financial empowerment, true financial inclusion, this is the way we're going to get it. One of the things, and I said review of the wallet size, one of the things we also say is if we have our taxi man lodging these funds every day to his bank, he can get his GK Pay statement. Why can't he use that statement to say, this is my source of income? You know, this is my true, legitimate source of income. Whether it is to get a small loan, whether it's to get a loan for his daughter to go to college, we don't know. But these type of forward thinking is really what we need when we start talking about digital payments.
Okay, Quisk is NCB's solution, NCB's mobile wallet offering. Essentially is a way that you can make a payment or receive payment without either plastic, and it's you use your phone number in order to you can use your phone number, go to the ABM and can do cash out from the ABM, or you can make a payment at a merchant. So if you were to go to a merchant and instead of swiping your card or insertion of your card, you enter your 10-digit phone number, then your 6-digit password, and then you can pay for your goods or services. So, and you can also do peer-to-peer transfers. So if we go to, let's say a group of us go to dinner and we go Dutch, we can just transfer all the funds to one person, and then that person can make the payment on the NCB terminal to pay for the dinner. We launched Quisk in 2016, and we've seen increased interest because of a number of changes we've made to the product, and we made it a little easier as well for customers. So we see where there's been significant increase, and we have a number of quick service restaurants. So we've increased the offering, we've built out the ecosystem, and we continue to build out this ecosystem. So customers are seeing increase in value in NCB Quisk. Just about every merchant who has NCB terminals, you would be able to access Quisk. So for the newer merchants, they're signed up automatically with Quisk. But for merchants who have been in our system for a long time, we continue to go through the process of adding Quisk to their terminals. So if there's any merchant that you'd like to use Quisk and you're not seeing where they have Quisk at this time, we can easily add them, because the same machine that any of our merchants have can process KeyCard, MasterCard, Visa card, can process multi-link debit card, process Amex, China Union Pay, Discover, JCB cards, and of course NCB Quisk. So the merchants don't require to have an additional terminal. So it's the same terminal that process all debit and credit card transactions that process Quisk right now.
The unbanked constitutes over 500,000 people, and we want to get them included. The government's policy of financial inclusion, and that's our aim. Our product is not as, what should I say, invasive as when you go to try and open a bank account. We have the Bank of Jamaica guidelines for the card, which is not as stringent. It's once you collect remittance from abroad, it's the same process. So it's not very difficult, but the difficulty is going to be education. How do you convince people who are not used to a product and what they perceive as a bank product? How do they get access to it? And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find ways to make it simple and fast. I think it's very timely because without financial inclusion, the economy cannot grow. If you have half your population unbanked and doesn't have access to financial services, which means credit, just a regular bank account to do transactions, it's very, very difficult to maximize your potential. We went to a card product as opposed to the mobile wallet. Our products can also use mobile technology, but it's just an educational process, and that's long and hard to convince somebody to put your money on a device like a phone. It's not an easy thing to persuade people to do. They don't have any confidence in it. They have never seen it. And how do you convince them that it is safe and this is going to be a very convenient tool? But over time, I believe Jamaicans are very technology savvy and hungry, and we hope that over time we'll have that.
That brings us to the end of part 1 of our 2-part coverage of the Driving Financial Inclusion with Digital Payments Conference. Until next time, I'm Javon Keys. Stay tuned to Business Access TV, serious about business.
Kiara Cosmetics is a wellness and beauty company that specializes in all-natural hair, skin, and nail care products that are designed specifically to enhance your beauty naturally. So we have our hair care line. In our hair care line, we have 3 main products. We have our hair butter, which is excellent for color-treated hair or dry, brittle hair, as well as natural or processed hair. We also have our hair and scalp treatment oil, which is actually the product that led to the creation of Kiara Cosmetics. In the face care line, we have several bar soaps. So we have our charcoal and tea tree oil bar soap, which is really used as an antimicrobial soap that helps with active acne. Then we have our family bar, which is an aloe vera and oatmeal bar soap, which is good for the entire family. You can start using it on your baby as young as 1 month old. It's a very gentle, nice bar. And then we have our neem and turmeric bar, which is excellent for a person who suffers from eczema. We also have our beard oil, which is a big hit here at Expo Jamaica. Oh my goodness. The men are loving our beard oil, which really helps to condition the skin under the beard, help to reduce the flaking and itchiness that tend to happen, as well as keeping the beard looking nicely groomed and have this nice subtle glow. In our nail care line, we have our cuticle oils, and we also have our nail treatment oil, which is especially for the ladies who wear tips and will tend to have those lifting and get the discoloration. It works wonders in getting the color back and getting your nails bed back to what it should be. So that is where we've started. But Kiara Cosmetics, I can tell you, we want to be the brand comparable to like a L'Oreal. That's the vision for the company. Right now, our products are available through our website, but we're also in select retail locations. And what we have done is really negotiated with our retailers to offer the products at the same cost that you're getting directly from us. So we will give more to them to ensure that you, the consumer, will make sure that you can buy it, that the products remain affordable to you and they're effective. If we say the product is going to do X, it will do X. It might do X, Y, and Z, but it must do X that we say it's going to do. And that's Kiara Cosmetics. We're in Health and Nutrition, which is in Sovereign Center. We're in Art Connect JA, which is shop number 5, Devon House. We're also in Natural Choice Health Food Store, 57A Malines Road. We're also at Sapphire Spa, which is 11 South Avenue. You can WhatsApp us and we can deliver the product to you. If you're outside of Kingston area, that's no problem. We utilize the courier services, Knockford Express, Tara Couriers, all the courier services we utilize to get the products to you in as little as the day after, or even the same day delivery. We are very accessible and we are here for our customers. You can always email us as well. Our email addresses are info@kiaracosmetics.com or kiaracosmetics@gmail.com or Dr. Watson@kiaracosmetics.com. We are currently online. We have our website, which is www.kiaracosmetics.com. Our telephone number is 876-305-3139.
I'm Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, and you're watching Business Access.
It's the last Monday in the month. How have you been enjoying our Round the Bend series? If you haven't seen them or just want to revisit past ones, visit our YouTube channel. Your favorite magazine program starts with a word of advice, and then it's time for the news. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Stay with us.
Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. Keep we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it.
No dash no paper, no dash no plastic. Dispose your garbage responsibly. No know how to recycle, learn it quick. And if you drop it, better pick up every piece of it. Plastics last forever, don't forget the bits. Cause when them touch the street, them end up in the sea. Collect pan the reef where they fish them feed. And when you want seafood, I eat your
Keep
eat.
we island clean, so clean. From the peaks to the beach, so clean. No dirty up Jamaica, please don't do it. No dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica, no dirty up Jamaica.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Monday, October 29. Government is working on a policy to boost housing for public sector employees. Prime Minister Andrew Holness's government will be examining its land bank to see how public sector representative bodies can partner with the National Housing Trust to develop the lands identified.
We will work out a program on the housing front that I'm sure will be very enticing and attractive to our policemen and women, our nurses, our teachers, and our public sector workers generally.
Prime Minister Holness was speaking at the recent groundbreaking for Phase 1 of the Friendship Oaks housing development in St. Elizabeth. The NHT will be developing 229 housing solutions and 4.8 hectares of land at the site. Entrepreneurs and entities looking to invest in downtown Kingston are being urged to do so early in order to benefit from current investment incentives being provided by government. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service, Favour Williams, says it is important that investors move quickly as these incentives could end soon. She was speaking to residents and other stakeholders during last Thursday's town hall meeting on the development of Government Oval at National Heroes Circle.
This urban renewal is one of the few remaining tax relief, and it does not have a long shelf life. So we invite you to speed up your decisions.
The tax relief given as an incentive to developers investing in Kingston's redevelopment is available in 4 forms. There is stamp duty and transfer tax exemption for approved developers acquiring land, plus income tax credits of 33 1/3 of capital expenditure available for approved developers to reduce income tax liability. There is also income tax exemption on interest received by approved lenders and tax relief for entities that receive rental income for properties. 10 institutions have been approved as Brain Builder Centers as government increases support for the early childhood sector. The $520 million Jamaica Brain Builders program was launched in July this year. Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid says since then, 22 memoranda of understanding have been signed with the approved institutions. The centers are being created out of existing early childhood institutions that are certified by the Early Childhood Commission, ECC. Minister Reid made the announcement in a statement to the Senate on Friday. The Jamaica Brain Builders program seeks to ensure that all Jamaican children get the best start in life. Under the initiative, the Early Childhood Commission will be responsible for establishing 126 Brain Builder centers, with 2 in each constituency across the island. Children will attend these centers at no cost to parents. Minister Reid says the approved early childhood institutions will receive support in terms of salary compensation for staff who work with children aged 0 to 3 years. Additional teaching or learning equipment will also be provided. The ministry will also cover the cost of cooks to provide nutritious meals and provide general and special grants to acquire early stimulation resources. The education sector will soon receive more than 10,000 ICT devices to assist students acquire necessary 21st century skills. Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid says the items are being donated by a Jamaican diaspora organization in the United States. He says the donation, which will include computer servers, laptops, and desktop computers, is in line with the ministry's mandate to encourage more computer-aided teaching in the classroom.
The target is get every primary school, every high school fully wired, fully empowered in terms of the delivery and capability in terms of ICT and teaching and learning.
The Education Minister was speaking at a recent ceremony to officially open a new classroom for grade 1 students at the Mona Heights Primary School in Kingston. The new classroom was built, furnished, and outfitted with a state-of-the-art multimedia projector, flat-screen television, and a reading corner. The school's fundraising activities and stakeholder contribution financed the $3.5 million project. And finally, the Jamaica Information Service, JIS, has extended the deadline for the submission of entries in its 2018 Heritage Competitions from October 31 to November 4 at midnight. The annual essay, poster, and photography competitions target primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions. For the essay competition, students aged 9 to 12 at the primary level are required to write an essay on the theme, "How has Jamaican music contributed to the country's growth and development?" For the poster component, high school students are asked to submit original designs on the topic, "Jamaica's Music, the Stage for Growth and Development." Meanwhile, tertiary students will be required to submit a photo depicting the theme, "Jamaica's Music, the Stage for Growth and Development." Application forms can be found at jis.gov.jm. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
It's always beautiful in Jamaica. Everything usually be green and pretty. We have beautiful water. Temperature that is normal temperature. The water never cold. We've been into business for about 13 years. JUSC, COOL. Just cool. It's spelled with 3 0. We make 3 different types of pudding. We make potato, we make cornmeal, and we make toto. This is the cornmeal, okay? That's actually almost the last process. What he's gonna do now, he's gonna put a gel on top. Within no time, he has to take it off because the gel give it a nice taste. We have people like Shelley and Fraser came here. We have, you know, you could name the biggest artists, Shabba Ranks, name them all. Being the Man, they all come here and buy their pudding. This is what we grew up on. Now, when the people come to Jamaica, everybody, as soon as they land off the plane, this is where they come. They want to taste this pudding because it's bringing them back to the old days. The long time days when they was kids growing up and they used to sit on the fire and watch their mama, their grandmother bake the pudding. We try not to change off our roots, we try to keep it that way. And not only that, we have a lot of love because we're all about love.
Five stops in, the JCA team recently pulled up to the Plains by the Sea, Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland, for another of their parish engagement sessions. See what took place next.
After making our debut visit to the town of Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth, then landing in the historic town of Spanish Town, St. Catherine, then moving across the eastern parish of Portland, into the town of Port Antonio, then to the garden parish of St. Anne in Ocho Rios. The Jamaica Customs Agency team is pleased to make our 5th stop in the serene parish of Westmoreland.
Apart from it being the first for the new financial year, although 5th in the overall engagement sessions, it is actually the session where we invited persons with disabilities specifically, and we actually had 2 interpreters today with us. Also, we were able to do live streaming, and this allowed persons across the length and breadth of Jamaica to see and hear what was going on, and in addition, persons in the diaspora to hear what is happening straight from the source.
At the Westmoreland engagement, the JCA provided pertinent information about customs clearance procedures and goods that are restricted or prohibited. Prohibited goods are those that should not be imported into the country at any time, while restricted goods can only be imported if a permit is obtained.
And we're looking at items such as possibly meats, as I said, the apples that persons may try to bring in when they're coming into the countries, the turkeys during the Christmas season, other dangerous drugs, the cocaine, and the firearm and ammunition. Goods may be inferior. Persons mentioned earlier about counterfeit cigarettes, the rum, right? So we're looking at things like these. We have other counterfeit items as well. I mean, you'd have seen clothes, shoes, the watches, the headphones, and so forth that's been on the market.
The JCA continued to engage its partners on its CMC initiative. And for this leg of the journey, the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office, JIPO, came on board and provided information on trademarks and intellectual property rights.
I want to make an appeal to you to be careful about what you purchase. Look at the trademarks to make sure that it's a genuine item you're buying, because if you buy counterfeit goods, you are inadvertently feeding organized crime. There is real enforcement behind it, there are real consequences behind it, and we want to make sure that we not only value our intellectual property rights, but we recognize the value of others.
As the agency continues to tackle the issue of corruption through public education, residents learned ways in which customers contribute to this practice and the measures the JCA is taking to combat this challenge.
So whether is it they're cutting your goods by half or you're providing fraudulent invoices just so that you can get your goods under value,
That is a form of non-compliance, which is also a form of corruption and borders on crime. So honest and effective leadership and oversight, proper auditing, clear rules on ethical behavior, transparent procedures, pre-employee and continuous screening, that's our vetting, sensitization sessions and workshops like we're doing here now, risk management, anti-corruption strategies, and our penalty system.
The audience also got an opportunity to provide feedback.
Is Customs aware of the frustration that customers go through at the Montego Bay port? And is anything being done to alleviate that frustration?
We understand, but until the port is expanded, and that is an initiative that has to be taken by the Port Authority of Jamaica, not Customs. It's a private entity.
What if when you go and clear a barrel and when you reach home you realize it was hacked into?
Usually for you to report something missing, it would have to be discovered right there and then when the items are being examined and the report made so that, things can be investigated.
And of course, residents were thoroughly entertained by the Hartford Folk and Cultural Group.
Quite entertaining and informative because the dramatizations, they were hilarious. They're real life. We can relate to that situation, and even the presentations, the information given, it was quite informative.
As the Jamaica Customs Agency continues its journey across the island, stay tuned, listen in, keep your ears to the ground, because the next stop may just be in your town.
No traffic is allowed through the 3 miles intersection of the corporate area. Motorists coming from Mandela Highway or Spanish Town Road heading towards Halfway Tree may detour along Washington Boulevard. Those heading towards the downtown Crossroad area from Spanish Town Road may travel through the communities of Waterhouse or Portmore. The 3 miles intersection and environs are being upgraded to create a seamless connection between the corporate area and St. Catherine.
We close out this year's observance of Fire Safety Awareness Month with some prevention advice.
In the case of a fire at your home, should you A, stop to get your pet, B, evacuate immediately and call the fire brigade from a neighbor's phone, or C, stop to call the fire brigade? The answer is B, evacuate immediately and call the fire brigade from a neighbor's phone. Many students know the answer to the question simply because a fire prevention officer went to their school and gave them the drill.
When your clothes is on fire, you do not run. So you stop where you are, you fall to the ground, and you roll.
Public education is a key component in fire prevention. It is a proactive method of reducing emergencies and the damage caused by them by ensuring that the public is fully aware of what to do in case of an emergency.
We recognize that fires start most of the time because people don't know about fires. People don't know what it takes to make a fire. People don't know what it takes to get rid of a fire. Without educating a person about the dangers of fire, then they would be totally lost, and we will continue to have devastating fires destroying life and property.
Look around for me. Make sure that everybody in the class is here.
I think you should give yourselves a clap. Right. That's how we want you to operate when there is a fire, all right?
Fire prevention officers go into communities, businesses, schools, churches, wherever they are granted access, and educate the public on fire safety practices. And through programs like Safety Monitor and Training, persons are taught to educate others about appropriate fire safety behavior.
We go into communities, we train what we call community safety wardens or fire wardens. So they would now look at the mispractices. We go into businesses, organize the staff, and we train persons to train the people in the workplace. They are also trained to a point where they can check for hazards to ensure that all the fire hazards that are visible can be reduced.
If it is that you require of us or you ask of us to come into your home and show you what inside there can actually start a fire and how you can prevent that fire, we actually do that. And we promote as well what we call the good neighbor policy. So you ensure that your neighbor is not doing anything that will put your life in jeopardy from a fire, and you do the same as well for your neighbors.
What happens?
Fire prevention does not stop at public education. There is also engineering and enforcement. You could call it the triple E effect. Engineering and enforcement go hand in hand. It's at this stage that the Fire Prevention Division review building plans, inspect buildings, and assess for compliance.
We encourage you to come into us, submit your building plan. We are able to look at it to see how you are going to occupy the building, and then we would be able to recommend the type of devices that you would use to better protect your property and the lives that will occupy that building.
Fire prevention officers should be contacted to conduct fire safety inspection as soon as new buildings are erected or existing buildings are being renovated. There is no cost attached.
So you would write us a letter, and you can send it in to us by email. When we get that letter, we set a date with you. We come into your building and we look at everywhere. All of the occupied space, whether doors are locked off, technical room, we start from the roof all the way down to basement level if there's a basement, and we note everything in terms of what you have in the building, what you need to do, and then we would go back, make recommendations. So once you implement those recommendations, then you know that you are on the right track to have a safe building, a fire-safe building to occupy.
Once the inspection is complete and your building meets the required standard, you will receive a building occupancy certificate, also known as a fire certificate. The Fire Prevention Division also sees to the retrofitting of fire hydrants.
In 2007, we did a survey. That survey was a bit dismal, to be honest. It showed that we had just about 30% of all fire hydrants across the island working. We hired 2 teams of hydrant maintenance persons, and we placed one in the western section of the island and one in Kingston. In 2012, 5 years after, we did another survey, and that survey is showing us that we now have over 70% of the fire hydrants working. So that is really saying to us that the team that we have employed is actually going out there and doing the job that is required of them.
The fire brigade is on the job to ensure that you are safe in the event of a fire, but they can't go it alone. Your help is needed.
Don't cook and leave it unattended. Don't overload circuits. Don't introduce a whole lot of electrical equipment on systems that are not designed for that heavy load. Don't allow children that are not of the age of 12 and untaught to be fooling around with fire in general, and pretty much ensure that you have a plan in your home, in the building that you occupy. Ensure that the right equipment is there. Our message to the public is prevent, prevent, prevent.
Once a fire starts, you need to call us. It is better for us to get on the scene and realize that you have already dealt with it than for us to get on the scene late. Because nobody likes a situation like that when we get there late and there's nothing much that we can actually do.
For more information on the Jamaica Fire Brigade, visit their website, www.jfb.gov.jm, or call 922-2523 or 922-0007.
Protect Jamaica, plant your grass. Help us become more resilient to climate change impacts. Protect Jamaica, plant a tree. It improves the island's national biodiversity. Trees may be fruit, ornamental, or timber, but must be native or suitable to the area's natural landscape. Join the Jamaica Million Tree Campaign and help to plant 1 million trees by June 30, 2019. This is a call to action by the National Environment and Planning Agency.
As we look forward to Eat Jamaican and Youth Month in November, let's bask in the creativity and inventive nature of our young.
Recycling, the process by which used materials are converted into new, usable products. One of those commonly recycled materials is the plastic bottle. It's often used to produce a number of products, from clothing to furniture and even other bottles. But did you know that bottles can be repurposed into a greenhouse? Well, a team from the Richmond Park Primary School in Clarendon not only built a greenhouse, but also created an irrigation system along the way.
The JCCP and the UNDP involved us into a project in ways how we can sustain the environment. So our school, we came up with the idea of recycling plastic bottles, and because we are in the farming, our school is in the 4-H club, we decided to do the greenhouse and plant crops inside of it. We use plastic bottles a lot in our schools and our surroundings, and we see them all over the place. So we and the students, we came together with an idea to collect all the plastic bottles in our communities, and then we bring them back to our school, and then we wash them, and then we started to build the greenhouse. This size, it took us 1 week, exactly 1 week. Inside we have 6 types of drip irrigation system. We have the cone dripper, where we put the plant inside, we cut the liter bottle and put the plant inside of it, and the water is absorbed by the absorbent cord into the soil. That is, the plant can get the water and the nutrients also. And we have the hose dripper. When the water runs off the roof and catches into the bucket, it leads to the hose and it waters the plants also. And we have the plant hangers and the syrup bottle self-watering system, where the water drips from one bottle to the next until it waters all the plants. So you don't have to go every day to water plants. The bottles are there, it's a self-watering system. All you have to do is to pour some water inside the bottles.
The greenhouse was a hit at the 66th staging of the Denby Agricultural Show in Clarendon and caught the attention of several government ministers, one of whom was a minister without portfolio in the Agriculture Ministry, J.C. Hutchinson, who indicated that this project was in line with something he had been advocating for.
What I've been speaking mainly about is the hydroponics, which part of what you see there is the hydroponics, where you have the water coming through the plastic bottles to filter to the plants. And also you could have aquaponics also, where you have the fish below, and that filters through the plants, through the plastic bottles, and comes back out. Inside there is cooler than outside here, and I think if we can have some of these going, it might suit quite a number of persons who might think of setting up house.
Reduce, reuse, recycle. The use of plastic bottles in the agricultural sector is definitely becoming a thing. So give it a try. Start a backyard garden and help to rid the country of these pollutants. We all can play our part in helping to make the country a cleaner place and even help to boost the economy.
And that's our show. Be sure to catch up on this and past programs by visiting our website jis.gov.jm and our YouTube channel. You may also keep in touch through our social media pages. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica. Having a corporate event, seminar, awards show, conference, product launch, workshop or expo? Business Access TV is here to showcase your event. Contact our sales department at 908-0919, 906-6357 or 908-2775 for more information. Business Access TV, serious about business.
We are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Hi, I'm Richard Panduit, CEO for the Separate Group of Companies. You're watching Business Access TV. We're serious about business.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious
about business.
Serious about business.
Welcome to part 2 of BATV's coverage of the Driving Financial Inclusion with Digital Payments Conference happening right here at the Bank of Jamaica. I'm your host, Javon Keys, inviting you to stay tuned.
DBJ, in collaboration with the Inter-American Development Bank, has embarked on a program of financial inclusion, or assisting with the development of the and also assisting with the development of the micro, small and medium-sized enterprises. Now, an important part of the conference is to bring awareness to the availability of the relevant technologies that can assist in bringing efficiencies to businesses. So this conference is under the theme Electronic Retail Payments as well as Financial Inclusion, because we're seeking to bring micro and small businesses into the formal sector and for them to understand how they can utilize digital technology to improve their business operations. We think that the conference is timely because we're at a stage now in the market where there are 3 providers of call it non-traditional services, mobile money services, and one in the form of a prepaid MasterCard. Now, as it relates to mobile money, that particular service has been on the market for about 3 or 4 years, but the adoption of mobile money services has been below par. But mobile money has been used in other areas to move persons into the formal sector and to assist in reducing things like transaction costs for businesses. So we think it is timely now that our MSMEs seek to adopt this technology as they move towards improving business efficiency. As it relates to the presenters, we endeavor to bring presenters who are already in the space, persons who are aware of the technology, and persons who could contribute and help in convincing microfinance organizations as well as other stakeholders of the importance of moving Jamaica in this direction.
The idea behind this is really seeking how we can help to develop the ecosystem for digital payments to encourage more persons to actually use it as a means of engaging with regulated financial institutions or regulated payment system providers. The thinking behind it is that you have to understand the customer's perspective, remove the pain points, understand the provider's perspective, and facilitate the flow of business and funding. Because this financial inclusion project is part of a broader project to empower Jamaicans to actually engage in the global economy. First of all, I think we need to redefine ourselves. I think we limit ourselves unnecessarily. Jamaicans, and Jamaica is actually on the cusp of becoming first world. We're an upper middle income country. We have sacrificed greatly in terms of financial sector reform. So what you see in the ERPS guidelines, the Electronic Retail Payment Services guidelines, is the creation of the regulatory framework which speaks to consumer protection, speaks to agents, speaks to the nature of the product design, and we go through a rigorous assessment of the product, which means that when a consumer now uses an authorized ERPS product, they have confidence that Bank of Jamaica has looked at the issue, looked at fit and proper, looked at the agent network, and even looked at the mechanisms to protect the consumer. So, of course, data protection is critical, but what also needs to be remembered at each point is that this is a means of facilitating payments. So we have tiered levels because we understand that the transaction volume and the value of each transaction is important to the individual customer. So it's all being done from a customer perspective as well as ensuring you develop the ecosystem. We are about empowering Jamaicans and empowering our financial institutions and providers by bringing them together in a forum where we can speak about the areas that need to be improved upon and addressed. And the main takeaway for the Jamaicans would be that we can actually use digital payments to facilitate business and facilitate it easily with confidence, knowing the payment will go through, knowing that it will reach its intended recipient, and knowing that you have confidence at the end of the day, your wallet, your mobile wallet is in fact operating as it should to protect you.
I was presenting on public-private partnerships and how its impact can influence a successful ecosystem for electronic retail payments. The main takeaway points is that the private sector, in assisting the government to achieve national financial inclusion strategy, cannot do it on its own. There has to be a substantial investment by the government itself to advance financial inclusion. This conference is an offshoot of the government's plan, and in this plan it involves the commitment to public and private partnership, which is education of the public on the government's intention to support digital products for the underserved, and hence it's called financial inclusion. It's very timely. Digital evolution, it's becoming faster and faster, and the sooner Jamaicans are made aware of the opportunities, the sooner the investors, all stakeholders, and the consumers can participate. I personally would not like to see a foreign company come in and provide solutions to our own citizens, which we are capable of doing. So it is incumbent upon us to now start to roll out our strategies. There are 4 authorized issuers, and issuer is the company who will be providing the service. There is Alliance, GK, which does MPay, Quisk, NCB, and previously there was Connect. And these companies have made significant advancements and investments into the new ecosystem. And I personally believe that there's so much opportunity. Lasco Financial Services is preparing its application as well, because we see the opportunities in the market. But for the state, we believe it is necessary for them to assist us with the public education, because we have to convert. It's going to be a lot to convert new customers who are not fully aware of the opportunities and the entire security features of this digital payment. That us as issuers can't do on our own. So that was mainly the gist of my presentation, to make the state think differently about their role in financial inclusion, and also to make the investors think differently about their role. I find that most of the investors are so focused on the payment system, which is the technology, and not thinking about the ecosystem. Now, the ecosystem is necessary to drive success, which is all the merchants involved, all the agents that are involved, and other government stakeholders. So I hope today I was able to give them a different perspective. So far, there's not been any successful business proposition, neither for the customer nor the investors themselves. So I hope I was able to get them to think a little differently today.
It's time for a quick break, but stay with us. We have much more after this.
The Nissan X-Trail with All-Mode I Technologies. no matter what the road throws at you. Your story starts here.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us.
So people earn more as technology gets adopted. So that's on the macro side, but then there are overwhelming distributional effect of technology. The high school droppers, their real wage hasn't moved from 1963, from the 60s. So what happened with technology adoption is that those who are able to use those technologies are the one who benefit, because the technology is complementary to high skill. Think about powerful computers. You can do programming. Obviously, you will program faster. You can run your code faster. But if you have robots are substitute to who? Robots are substitute to low-skilled workers. You still need high-skilled people to program those robots. So in equilibrium, you would have higher real wage, higher productivity for high-skilled workers, and lower real wage for low-skilled workers. Because the demand for those low-skilled is lower because they get substituted with robots. But the demand for high skill is higher because you need more high skill people to program and to actually operate those robots. Now, that's the general perspective on technology. But you may wonder, is this time different? Is the digital revolution different from the previous technological change that occurred? In some respect, yes, but not totally. Yes, because this chart shows you the lag in the adoption of technologies. So if you look at earlier technologies in terms of motor engines, they were slow. The adoption of those technologies was slower. So the digital is faster to adopt, maybe because of the nature of the technology itself. But the reality is that the changes that we've seen over the past 50 years, you may have to double that. You'll be thinking about it 50 years ahead, because technology diffusion is faster. Now, I do believe that people learn fast. I mean, we saw yesterday in the keynote there was a top-down approach to financial inclusion, which in the case of Jamaica could mean the path benefits are channeled through funds. And as you do that alone, if people are already aware that my path benefit will be coming on my phone, it unlocks that possibility to use funds as device to mobile service and all. So I think there is some scope for top-down in terms of what the policy can do to incentivize those behaviors. In some other countries where the private sector is very large and have a lot of access to credit, they could also engineer, they could facilitate that process. But I think in developing countries there is a scope for government to kind of fuel the process.
I was essentially looking back and to see how technology, what has been the impact on technology, on work, technology on distribution. And the key message there is that technological advancement have generally been associated with higher growth, higher productivity, and higher real wages on aggregate. But they also come with some challenges because when there are new technology, some people get displaced because some new jobs get created as a substitution to some of the old jobs. So usually technology are more skill biased. So those people who have skills are complementary to technology. Like if you need robots, you're essentially substituting low-skill jobs. But those people who can operate the robots and program the robots, those are the people who, in the first instance, benefit the most. Now, that could lead to polarization of income. So you may have more inequality because the more skill get more and the low skill get less because they get substituted by the machines, right? So the question there is what can policy do? And this is one of the questions that I was trying to provide an answer to, drawing on some work that has been done at the IMF on technology and the future of work. And essentially, there is a taxation and spending policies that could be adopted. First, to make sure that the unskilled can keep up with technology in terms of upgrading their skills. And number two, how to finance that. Because if the government wants to spend more in those areas, there is scope to raise taxes. And when you think about tax, you don't want to tax the income of the person earning more because he may work less. So you don't want distortionary taxes. You want consumption type tax. So in that model, they try to see if taxing consumption to finance more education spending and providing some transfers, how can you redistribute the gain of technological change? So you keep the growth, so you keep the fact, you don't prevent technology from occurring, because one of the nature of the growth and development is that new sectors comes up, some jobs get destroyed, and as long as there is no distortion in the process, you shouldn't prevent the process. And that's what policy can do, you know, in terms of using taxation and spending to make sure that although the aggregate gains of technology are protected, you also take care of the non-so-skilled in terms of upgrading them.
We take our final break, but don't go anywhere. We have more highlights for you after this.
We are serious about the business of real estate, so catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
Thanks for staying with us, and if you're just tuning in, we're here at the Driving Financial Inclusion with Digital Payments Conference. Now for more highlights.
Security incidents have been increasing in sophistication, frequency, and the magnitude of impact. So no longer you have a one-way hack. So we hack an organization somewhere and it's isolated. No more we have that. We're going big. Hackers are organized. You have hacker teams, and I really don't want to scare you really bad, but we have them locally too. And on these teams, you have the person who is in charge of personal data. You are the technical person. You do the social engineering. Different persons have their different roles. So they're dedicated to what they do. This is their job. Figure out how to get into a certain amount of accounts and take out the money. These incidents, as I may have alluded to before, affect the reputation of the company, their finances, and even their physical assets, because they can take down their networks. This undermines your competitiveness and your ability to innovate and position yourself in the marketplace. You can suffer tangible, physical, or economic harms. Security incidents can impose significant costs on an economy as a whole, eroding trust and spreads across sectors. The attacks themselves may be intentional. So they may sit and plan for a year that, look, we're coming for Bank of Jamaica. However, it may also be unintentional. You may just have that one user that clicked on the wrong thing. A lot of times, that happens. What are some of the ways in which this can happen? Now, research has shown that the biggest security issue in any organization is the human factor. So you spend all this money and you buy the latest firewalls and you have all the policies in place. But if your users are not aware, if they don't know that Mr. Morrison's name does not have an S, it can cause a problem. So you have to be aware, you have to be really conscious of these things. Think about it. You must have policies and procedures in place. As the leaders, as the managers of the organizations, you have to ensure that you have the end user policies, your social media policies. I know these are things we generally don't think about because they're not traditional, but it's the age in which we're living again. You must look at things such as passwords. You have to ensure that their users know that their name is not a good password. They also need to be aware of the fact that when you give them a set of credentials, it's theirs. And anything happens under those credentials, they are responsible. And always be careful of opening and following links in unsolicited mail. If you don't know the person, like me and the cyberjutsu person, don't be clicking at them. As much as it make you feel good, the feel-good factor is what they used to get. And what we say, always be cyber safe, protect yourself online, and think before you click. And I've even gone further now to say think before you post, because some of the things that you're posting, they're even more dangerous than some of the things in your phone. I spoke about the need for persons to be aware of the issues that can arise with using online platforms as well as using electronic devices. So we want people to know that while there are good uses, and I did speak to some of the uses of social media in marketing and in promoting a business, there are some risks that exist, and I gave some examples as to how to manage those risks. Companies need to do all that is necessary to protect consumers' data. Why I don't think sometimes they realize that this data that they hold is valuable to other organizations, some not necessarily legal organizations as well, for all sorts of use. And that is what we're trying to get across, that companies need to realize that you're holding personal data and other persons are interested in this data, so it is your responsibility to protect it. When you're using online platforms, when you're using electronic devices, think before you click, think before you post with social media. You need to consider the impact that whatever you post may have, not only on you, but on others. Thinking before you click can save yourself and your organization a lot of trouble.
As it relates to a digital world, and as users and consumers increase their usage, and the intention is that as technology improves and increase, then more and more persons should take up the use, especially to do businesses and services. But the direction that we're heading is good, but we also have to think about the negative side of things, in the sense that there are challenges with respect to security aspect of what we do. We do a lot of business online, we do a lot of transaction, point-of-sale services. All of these things, pose risk and threat for the consumers. Criminals are out there, they're understudying and looking at how things move on and progress with respect to businesses, whether it's online businesses and things like that. They can get involved in studying your patterns of usage online. Say, for example, if you pay bills online, if you shop online, normally you'll put your information about your card online, your PIN number online. Criminals can now send malicious software to your smart devices. Once it gets on your devices, these criminals now have access to your information. it dumps things like keyloggers. So when you're ready to put your card number in, they capture that number. It goes as far as turning on your camera system and turns on your audio system. Sounds very scary, but indeed it is so. I'm not here to let persons become paranoid, but becomes aware of the possibilities that are out there. Sometimes you go to point of sale to do your transactions. We have to be careful of the persons that are accepting your debit and credit card, because sometimes they work with the criminal underworld. They get things like skimmers, a similar thing to your swipe when you take it to the supermarket or gas station. Swipes. Criminals are now bringing into the country the fake ones, so that cashiers and persons who are accepting these cards, they will have the fake, what we call a skimmer. Once you make your payment and you're not paying attention, these persons can swipe these cards, capture the information about your card, recreate your card, or get into your account. So I'd advise shoppers, when you go to the gas station, don't just give your card and turn your back or let the attendant go away with your card. If they're not doing these transactions in your presence, then you should not do business with that kind of, business place. So these are some of the things, we just want you to be aware that these are the possibilities, and you have to be vigilant as a user and as a consumer, because the more and more we move into a cashless society, it becomes more challenging for law enforcement to investigate these cases. As I said before, the internet has no borders, and all of these things are connected on a global scale to different servers providing different services. And sometimes you have persons out there that can hide their criminal activity. Say, for example, an IP address. Criminals can now hide your IP address, make it appear that it's coming from a specific server, a proxy server, makes it more difficult for law enforcement to track these criminals. But I want to reassure the Jamaican public that law enforcement and government is doing the best they can at this point, seeing that, digitization and technology drives the economy. We'll have to prepare ourselves to serve and protect consumers as they use technology more. Laws are in place to deal with criminals and to deter their activity. We have the Cybercrime Act of 2015, which is now up for revision. The penalties are stiff. If it's in the lower court, it can be between 3 to 5 years or $3 to $5 million. If it's in the upper court, you can get a maximum of 20 years or $20 million. And these are some of the things we are putting in place to deter criminal activity. Of course, the police department do have a specific unit that deals with the investigation of these types of crimes. Personnel have been trained and have the necessary skill set that can investigate these matters. Another thing is that Jamaica is a part of a global network of investigators and skilled person who can investigate these cases. So because the internet has no borders, it means that a perpetrator can, have access to your information from outside of Jamaica, which means that you need the support of other countries. Jamaica is a part of a 24/7 network, which comprises of about 80 different countries. So if a perpetrator appears to be coming from country X, once that country is a part of the network, then they will collaborate and support the investigation with the local police department. And that is something that, we want consumers to be reassured that indeed we are trying to keep up with the game as criminals get more sophisticated.
And that brings us to the end of part 2 of our 2-part coverage of the Driving Financial Inclusion with Digital Payments Conference. Until next time, I'm Javon Keys, inviting you to stay tuned to Business Access TV, serious about business.
Good evening. With your BATV News, I'm Kalila Reynolds. Leader of the opposition People's National Party, PNP, Dr. Peter Phillips, says the Caribbean is still suffering from the fangs of the Great Recession. He's lauding the Mia Mottley administration in Barbados for its willingness to bite the bullet in accepting an agreement with the IMF. He says the move should be worth it. He was speaking at the Barbados Labour Party BLP's 80th anniversary conference yesterday. Javon Keys has more.
The global recession of 2008 has had, I dare say, the most devastating effect on the Caribbean, more so than any other sub-region or region of the globe.
PNP leader Dr. Peter Phillips says the recession led 11 countries in the region to seek bailouts from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. These include Jamaica and most recently Barbados. Dr. Phillips and the Portia Simpson Miller administration are largely credited for turning Jamaica's economic fortunes around by sticking to the terms of a 4-year extended fund facility EFF with the IMF. Now that Barbados is entering its own 4-year EFF, Dr. Phillips is offering some advice as the guest speaker at the ruling BPL's annual conference. He says the biggest challenge since independence is the responsibility of managing our own economic and fiscal affairs. He says poor management could have countries regressing.
If you don't manage your personal accounts, your fiscal affairs, your national accounts, then someone will come and manage it for you. And that is the very opposite of independence.
He says international lending agencies now require a lot more from borrowers, so Barbados must be lauded for making the decision to accept.
The banks in the international community, the multilateral organizations, when they intervene, quite frankly, they intervene with more detail, more comprehensively than was the case with colonial authorities in the last years of colonialism. So I applaud the Barbados Labour Party government for agreeing to bite the bullet and take charge of the fiscal accounts of this country.
He says if Barbados takes the hard decisions early and stays on course, they will achieve success.
If you take the hard decisions early, if you stay the course, if you sustain your patience and your courage, you will achieve success.
For BATV News, I'm Javon Keys.
Cigna's Credit Investment is reporting more than $36 million in equity capital as at June 2018. The private credit investment firm, which entered the market last year, says they're positioning themselves to become the Caribbean's leading private credit leader. They released their 2018 annual report recently. More in this report.
After only a year on the credit financial market, Cigna's Credit Investment says they've become a major player. Their 2018 annual report reveals that the company raked in $1.4 million in net profits and $1.2 million in investment income. Total income stood at $1.8 million and the shareholders' equity $36.6 million. Earnings per share was 9 cents, while return on equity was 6.6%. The company says this was achieved through a private sale of shares to institutional and high net worth investors in 2017, totaling $16 million, and an initial public offering in 2018, which raised more than $20 million. Cigna's Credit Investment ordinary shares are listed on the main US dollar market and main Jamaican dollar market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Chairman Clement Wayne Iton says the company is positioning itself to become the leader in the Caribbean's private credit market. For BATV News, I'm Jamila Maitland.
Northern Caribbean University, NCU, says it's embarking on a financial recovery plan after a recent audit of the institution revealed that the current framework may threaten the institution's sustainability. Director of Corporate Communication, Marketing and Public Relations at NCU, Byron Buckley, says the institution is setting up cost reduction and growth strategies as it right-sizes its operations. He says while no employees will be laid off, the institution is putting a freeze on hiring except for critical positions.
We are freezing any hiring. The only hiring going to happen is critical positions, persons who are due retirement, where, you know, those people would have to go off for retirement. If we're going to use them afterward, it will be more like in a contractual way, post-retirement. And then there's a reclassification done, so a couple positions, it was reverted to a lower position.
He says the university will be growing some of its existing portfolios and has already started a business processing outsourcing unit for the new school term.
We just started out with a BPO center. We want to grow that in partnership with an overseas investor. We just revamped our press and brought in a state-of-the-art press, you know, so that we can expand business on that side. And most important, we are expanding our distance education. Not everybody can leave and physically come into the wall of the university, but there is a growing market of professionals who want to study online.
Mr. Buckley says the BPO jobs are only for students as part of the institution's Earn As You Learn system, but he says NCU plans to incorporate non-students in the future. He adds that they're aggressively recruiting new students after the student population fell by 2,000 to now a little over 3,000 students enrolled. Tuition accounts for a large part of NCU's income.
We just had our open day last week, and there were some 1,500 high school students who came on campus and were exposed to our program offerings. So we're still doing our recruitment aggressively to up our numbers. Ideally, we want to get back into the 5,000 student enrollment figure.
Meanwhile, the University of the West Indies, UWI-Mona, has deregistered about 800 students who failed to pay in full or make arrangements for payment. A representative on the institution's Student Guild Council says that this is part of the administration's new strategy to ensure that fees are collected. The 800 students who reportedly are first years were sent warning emails from the beginning of the semester up until October 3. When a final email was sent informing that if the fees weren't paid by October 7, they wouldn't be allowed to sit the mid-semester exams. However, the Guild says it sought audience with the school's administration, and an arrangement was made to allow students to continue the semester even after the deadline once they've made financial arrangements. This gives them until this Wednesday to do so. The Guild representative says once the arrangements are made, students who would have missed mid-semester exams will be accommodated to sit them at another time. And stay with us, we'll have more news after the break.
This is the new Tough Crossover. An exploring gear that pumps out your tough side. Strong and sturdy on the outside. Calm and comfort on the inside. This is Suzuki new SX4 S-Cross. Gear to explore.
We are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well lock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back. After months of trading at an all-time high, the Jamaican dollar is now appreciating again. It ended the day trading at $128.93. Economist Dr. Damian King says this is because the demand for the U.S. dollar has changed, while financial analyst Dennis Chung is crediting the Bank of Jamaica for the local currency's recent gains. Sashana Small has more.
The Jamaican dollar started the year trading at $125.37, but on June 8, it started an upward climb, trading at $130.20. By August 23, it was trading at a record high of $137.96. This caused shock waves across Jamaica. But last Thursday, the Jamaican dollar finally went back below the $130 mark and has continued its stride, ending today's trading at $128.93. Economist Dr. Damian King says this is because the demand for the US dollar has weakened.
If we have a few weeks where demand exceeds supply, the exchange rate moves up. If we have other weeks where demand is less than supply, exchange rate is going to move down. And so that's all we are seeing now, that the exchange rate is responding on a daily and weekly basis to these shifts in relative demand and supply.
Dr. King says this is possible because the exchange rate is no longer the only thing that affects inflation.
Up until 3 years ago, inflation was the dominant consideration and would so relentlessly drive the exchange rate up that the effect of differences in supply and demand ended up getting swamped. So we mostly saw it going up. Now that the inflation factor has diminished, because we now are in a period where Jamaica can bank on low single-digit inflation rates, then the effect of relative demand and relative supply is now more apparent.
But he says persons have not been creating a buzz around the dollar's appreciation because of how Jamaicans use foreign currency.
Most Jamaicans are net users of foreign exchange. They get more concerned about a rise in the exchange rate than they do a fall in the exchange rate. Those few who are net earners of foreign exchange have the opposite reaction, that they pay more attention when the exchange rate falls because that harms them than when the exchange rate rises because that benefits them.
In the meantime, financial analyst Dennis Chung is crediting the central bank for the Jamaican dollar's appreciation.
I think that they saw that it was moving too fast and they stepped in and sort of tried to curb it a little bit. When they think that there's demand that is not accounted for with any logic, then if the dollar is behaving irrationally, they'll step in and do that.
However, he says based on the nature of the exchange rate, it's not unlikely that the dollar will depreciate again.
The dollar is going to fluctuate based on demand and supply. So, I don't think there's anything much different from that.
For BATV News, I'm Sashana Small.
Growth Tech says they're working on improving the Wi-Fi in Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC buses. The team says they're reviewing feedback from customers and the public should see improvements by the end of the year. Jamila Maitland reports.
Growth Tech CEO Neil Lawrence says he's aware of the concerns raised by the public who use their Wi-Fi in buses. Mr. Lawrence says some users are annoyed with the time constraint for using the Wi-Fi. Each person is granted 15 minutes, after which they are logged out of the system.
There are so many people that travel on a bus. You can have a ridership of 400 people on a bus. And what we have to ensure is that the data can service these persons. So at the end of the day, if somebody connects to the Wi-Fi and sends a message and puts down the phone and forgets that they're on the Wi-Fi, that is now a resource that could have been allocated to someone else who wants to connect. So it's not a matter of, we're limiting. There's a reason behind us optimizing and providing some limitations on connectivity.
The CEO says the other issue is the collection of information in order to use the Wi-Fi. He notes that the system requests the user's age range, gender, and contact information before logging in, all of which he says is for advertisement filtering.
The reason why we collected that information to begin with is only to ensure that we are putting the right goods and services in front of these customers, deals and advertisements that are relevant to them, and we can advertise it to them. Some persons aren't necessarily, as you would realize, a few persons aren't comfortable with that. So what we will be doing is the contact details will not be mandatory. It will be optional if you want to. And we're excited to say that if the contact information is provided as part of it, just for advertising purposes, we will also put incentives in place.
Mr. Lawrence explained the vision behind the system, which he says is expected to transform doing business on the go in Jamaica.
Eventually, persons will be on a bus and they get an ad related to something, and they run to try and get the driver to stop the bus because they have to come off and get that deal. You know, that is kind of where I want to get to, because if we can create an effective bridge between products and services, and I'm not talking about large companies, I'm talking any size, right? If somebody has a hairdressing parlor, right? If you want to tailor your product, you obviously want to target females mostly. The demographic information would help with that, so we can do targeted promotions. If a drink company has a new drink that would cater to kids, we could target students and have 18 or under, etc.
For BATV News, I'm Jamila Maitland.
Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke is dismissing reports on social media that the government has passed a bill to close dormant bank accounts and levy a monthly fee on such accounts. In a statement from the ministry today, Dr. Clarke says the rumors are baseless, mischievous, and untrue. He says the assertions are false and cause confusion among Jamaicans, especially those living overseas. Dr. Clarke states that under the Banking Services Act 2014, a record of unclaimed monies in the possession or under the control of a bank for at least 15 years is published in the newspapers. This record includes the particulars of the unclaimed monies and the period for which the monies have remained unclaimed. The statement goes on to say that there was a publication in the press this weekend to this effect, which gives persons the opportunity to claim these monies. If the monies are unclaimed for 15 years or more, remain unclaimed at the end of the year, even after the publications, only then would they become part of the government's revenues. And stay with us when we come back. Find out what Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley says is the hardest thing she's had to do since taking office. This and more in regional and international news up next.
The Nissan X-Trail with All-Mode I Technologies. No matter what the road throws at you, your story starts here.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
As the end of the year draws nigh and the celebrations begin, let us add some magic to the festivities with our BATV Christmas mix. Why settle for blah when you can have fa la 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 la? 60 advertising spots, 10 crawl spots. This $1.6 million package is all yours for only $45,000. Don't wait. Contact our sales team today and take advantage of this incredible offer. Our gift to you. BATV Christmas Mix. Offer valid until December 31, 2018.
Welcome back. Time now for regional and international news. Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley says she's disappointed with the way in which retrenchment in the public service is being executed. She says while she's disappointed with the process, she also understands that there are a number of reasons it's being done this way. Prime Minister Mottley made the comments in response to a question from the media during a signing ceremony with the Caribbean Development Bank, CDB, for a $75 million policy-based loan. The loan will support the implementation of the Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Plan. The Prime Minister says agreeing to lay off workers was the hardest thing she's had to do in public life. However, she says it was absolutely critical to the country's stability and its ability to transform. In the meantime, she stresses that the loan with the CDB is important. She says it sends the message that in spite of the difficult decisions, all the indices show that the country is on track and on its way to being able to secure a bright future for its people. More stakeholders in the Bahamas are reacting to the new tax proposal for health insurance. The concern now is how it may affect businesses. More from ZNS Network News.
President of the Bahamas Institute of Chartered Accountants, Gowan Bowe, says there are a lot of details that need to be worked out when it comes to the revamped national health insurance proposal released by the NHI Authority this week. Bowe says the changes directly impact consumers, but even more so, the business community.
There is a sliding scale, if you will, to the employer, which is going to have an impact. It's effectively, I'm going to say, a clandestine increase in minimum wage, because persons on the lower end of the scale will be paying 2% of their income. However, the employer would have to pay the difference to make up where there's a standard fee for each person. We know that we're coming out of years of negative growth or limited growth, and we're now seeing positive signs, and so we want to make sure it's balanced.
That balance, he suggests, has to do with the impact on disposable income for consumers and the cost of doing business as a result. While a 45-day consultation period is attached to the NHI shared responsibility document being circulated, he says the document will test public views on NHI.
Well, I see this more as a weather balloon at this point in time, in terms of saying that you get what you pay for. And so when we look at universal health care, whilst it's a very noble initiative, it's a very costly initiative. And so we have to embed in people's minds that it is not, if you will, free.
The proposed cost to fund the National Health Insurance Plan has been pegged at $100 million by the Health Minister, Dr. the Honorable Dwayne Sands. Bowe says with this added tax being imposed, there must be a transparent process shared with the public as it relates to financials.
In Brazil, far-right candidate Jair Bolsonaro has won a decisive victory in the presidential elections. He took over 55% of the vote in a runoff against ruling party candidate Fernando Haddad, leaving supporters of both parties screaming at each other in the streets. Here's more.
This is Bolsonaro's Brazil. The world's fourth largest democracy has voted on a new president. Many think he's saving the country from communism. Now this country is how I want it to be. This is not a communist country. Brazil is not a communist country. It's over, PT. It's over. But in its victory speech, Brazilians were presented to a much more conciliatory Bolsonaro. He talked about equality and diversity. This country belongs to all of us, to Brazilians born here or those who feel like that in their hearts. A Brazil with many different opinions, colors and orientations. As a defender of freedom, I'll lead a government that defends and protects the rights of citizens, who fulfills its duties and respects the law. Laws are for everybody. That's how our government is going to work, in a constitutional and democratic way. Bolsonaro's voters say they're tired of violent crime and corruption in politics, and they blame PT, the left-wing Workers' Party, who've been in power for over a decade. But runner-up Fernando Haddad and his supporters fear for their future. Haddad told his followers that the fight is not over. We have an enormous task in this country, And that is in the name of democracy, to defend the freedom of thought and to defend the freedom of those 45 million of Brazilians who followed us until now. Bolsonaro, you'll see the people in the streets, they're saying. But many saw Fernando Haddad as too close to former President Lula da Silva, who's now in jail on corruption charges. This has been the most polarized election in the country since the return of democracy in 1985. With a dramatic swing away from the left, a new era has started in Brazil. Antonio Oliveira Silva, Euronews.
Stay with us. Talking Stocks comes up next.
GrowthTech is making connectivity like oxygen. Wherever you see the GrowthTech free Wi-Fi, feel free to connect. Watch, connect, and go, allowing you to chat, check, browse, and email securely. So when you're on the go and need to connect with friends, family, or a team member, or just stay updated, look for GrowthTech's free Wi-Fi. GrowthTech, making connectivity like oxygen.
Welcome back. Time now for Talking Stocks. 56 stocks traded today, of which 20 advanced, 24 declined, and 12 traded firm. The main JSE index declined by 3,094 points to close at over 355,000 points. The junior index also declined, going down by 7 points to close at 3,307 points. Over 3.8 million units traded today, valued at over $34 million on the Jamaican dollar market, while on the U.S. dollar market, more than 39,000 units traded, valued at over $7,800 US. 1834 investments with over 1.2 million units trading accounted for 31% of market volume. Sagicor Real Estate X Fund with 559,000 units trading was second. Carreras with over 344,000 units trading was third, accounting for 8% of market volume. The main advancers were Salada Foods, up $3.45 to close at $24.96, followed by Caribbean Cream, up 85 cents to close at $6.75, and Pulse Investments, up 23 cents to close at $2.98. The main decliners were Jetcon Corporation, down 27 cents to close at $3.50, followed by General Accidents, down 23 cents to close at $3.72, and Elite Diagnostic, down 18 cents to close at $3.17. In foreign exchange trading, the Jamaican dollar gained ground on the U.S. and British pound today, but lost to the Canadian dollar. The U.S. dollar ended today trading at $128.93, losing 69 cents to the Jamaican dollar. But the Canadian dollar gained on the Jamaican and ended the day at $100.20, gaining 75 cents on the Jamaican. Meanwhile, the British pound gained on the Jamaican dollar today. It ended the day trading at $166.12, losing $1.36 to the Jamaican dollar. And that's the news, but before we go, a recap of our top story. After months of trading at an all-time high, the Jamaican dollar is now appreciating again. Economist Dr. Damian King says this is because the demand for the U.S. dollar has changed, while financial analyst Dennis Chung is crediting the Bank of Jamaica for the local currency's recent gains. Thanks for watching. For more content, visit our website at batvja.com. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Pleasant viewing.
I'm Butch Hendrickson. You're watching BATV,
serious about business.
Greetings, I am Randy McLaren, co-founder and managing director of Brescia Enterprises. The idea came about after several discussions between myself and my brother, and we basically wanted a tangible way of expressing our talents and our skills, and of course a way of earning and to maybe employ others as well. So this is Davian McLaren, my little big brother and the co-founder of the company Brescia. He's the lead designer in the company, so whatever design is to come out, he's in charge of that, to monitor the quality and all them stuff there. At the time he was working at a department store in downtown Kingston. Minimum wage, it wasn't all that good, and he wasn't using his skill set. And so we decided to take a plunge after we arrived at a decision to start this company called Brescia. And we decided to start with bags because there was a market after doing our research. There was a market and there was no established brand this side of the world, none in Jamaica. And we import some 600,000 backpacks alone per year. And that's over 300 million Jamaican dollars. And so we decided to start Brescia on our veranda with two brothers, an old machine, and big dreams. So it was started basically in August of 2015, so we are a very young company, a year and some months. Brescia designs and manufactures a range of quality products right here in Jamaica. And the quality products that we've decided to start with, it's not limited to bags, but we started with bags. And so we do backpacks, we do lunch kits, we do pencil cases, we do tote bags, we can do travel bag, we can do gym bag. You see the RM on it, it's fully customized. RM Randy McLaren. So it's mine. You can tell us what compartment you want, if you want to personalize it with your name or initial, if you want to do a logo, if you're a company and you want specific branding, we can get that done. If you're a sports team, we can build bags for you as well. So we offer a fully customized service outside of the general bags that we do, because mostly the bags are done to order at this moment. We cater to everyone who needs to move things or something from point A to point B. Once you need to store your products, your gadgets. And so we're talking about students, we're talking about corporate workers, we're talking about government workers, we're talking about a sports and athlete. And when we say student, I mean at all levels, from primary, tertiary, secondary, whatever level basically. If you're in the gym, you need a gym bag. If you're traveling, you need a bag to move with, and that may be a duffel bag style or a backpack, depending on what you want. If you're going to work, you may want a work bag, and that may also be a backpack with a laptop compartment, some spaces to hold your files and your pens and your phone and that kind of stuff. So Brescia. Brescia is the Jamaican word for breadfruit. Let's start there. Outside of Brescia, I am a performer. I do spoken word, I do dub poetry, and I have a poem called Me Love My Breadfruit that I've been performing from about 2004. Right? And so when my brother were discussing what name to work with, we went through several options and we finally decided on Brescia. For different reasons. We wanted something that says Jamaican vibe, Jamaican culture, Jamaican energy, right? And both of us were from the parish of St. Thomas. The first set of breadfruits were planted in St. Thomas in Bath, and so we decided to run with it. And our tagline is Pick Right, and we thought that was appropriate. When you see all the other bags, just pick right and pick the Brescia. So initially, we didn't use any external funding. We pooled what we had in-house, and so we were able to buy our first second-hand industrial sewing machine. So we could have parked the domestic machine, the old one, So that was our first move. And about 2 weeks after doing that, my brother resigned from his 9 to 5 at the department store downtown, and we decided to go full speed with Brescia. And then we bought our first set of fabric, all the accessories, the zips, the buckles, and all those things that you need to put a full bag together. The company is pretty stable. We work on a custom order basis, and before a bag is made, we require a 50% deposit. So you find that we operate at a pretty stable level. We don't have inventory or stock piled up that would, affect our costing and our cash flow. But the problem we face now is that we need to scale. And so we've gotten a grant from DBJ through the Ignite program. We've also been awarded a loan through the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship and the Arthur Guinness Foundation, where we got a special interest rate, I think 4%. We got nearly $2 million as loan, and that will be using those funds to basically scale the business, get more machinery, train and employ more persons, retrofit the space that we're in, do some marketing and work on the branding and for product development as well. Right? So we're operating at a stable level right now, and we're very happy about that. We're on a bigger veranda now. We're now located at 26 South Camp Road. That's on the Alpha Institute complex. Centrally located, and it was a strategic decision because we want to grow. Where we're at now, we want to boost our production capacity. We really, really want to train and employ some more persons because the demand is there. So it's for us now to move and to put ourselves in a position where we can make use of the demand and scale as quickly as possible without rushing. All right, so here we have the ladies who are part of the company. Right here we have Kamali. Say hi, Kamali.
Hello.
Kamali is one of our big designers, top designers, right? And we have Veronique, who is our production manager.
Hi.
We've used in the past, we've gone through Heart Trust. So Heart has a program at Garmex, the Garmex facility, that they train people in fashion design and I believe machine operation as well. Kamali is one of our best workers, very detail oriented, came through that institution. So we're very grateful that they're doing the work that they're doing so that we can have access to talents. It's a pretty nice culture. It's mainly young people. I mean, working with young people, you'll always have your challenges because young people want up on them phone and them want to do fun things, right? And so we try to make the environment as light as possible, as relaxed as possible. We try to engender a family vibe, a family energy, where everyone feel comfortable talking to each other, where everyone feel comfortable sharing and learning at the same time. What we're working on is building the right culture to be in line with our mandate, to pick right. Everything must be on point, everything must be right. And we're very serious about that. We're very serious about empowering each other. We're serious about growth. A typical day for us here is 8 hours for some of us. It is 12 hours for some of us. We start generally at 9. Sometimes we're here earlier than that. We go, some of us, to 5 o'clock. But sometimes we're here depending on projects that we have, or we have orders to fill for our clients. We might be here until 8, 9. As the demand or our needs be. I'm still pretty young, but already I can see how being a young entrepreneur, having a young business can affect your relationship with family, even friends. Sometimes you don't get to visit your family as often as you want. Sometimes you're tired, you wake up early, you go in the night, you just want to sleep, you want to get some rest, you don't get to talk as often to family members, but you have to try to find time to make that happen. And we've been working at that deliberately to check in with friends and family every now and again. You know, call mom and find out what's happening. So it's been all right so far. I wouldn't say it's ideal, but we're trying to get there. And I think once you decide to start a business, and some things will be affected because you'll need to pay attention to nurturing this baby, right, so to speak. But it's understanding time and season. So you put out all the effort, all the sacrifices now so that later everybody can be comfortable and you can take care of your friends and family and everybody is good.
There's only one recommendation for funding that is ever going to come from me, and that is funding from a bank.
This is the cost to build, and it includes every nail and screw for the building.
Our motto is building communities, building a nation.
Get in the know with the world of real estate with Business Access TV's Home Sweet Home, Sundays at 4:30 p.m.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
First of all, we're made in Jamaica. There's nothing more unique than that. We have a culture that people love, and the vibe and love that we put into each and every product is unique in and of itself. Our designs as well, we spend time to make sure that our designs are carefully crafted. So basically we have some of our products here, not all, but this one is an example of our crossbody bag, the big size. As you see, you can get your name or nickname on it. This is the Brescia Basic Flip design. I don't do the designing, we work as a team to decide on the final products, but my brother and the rest of the designers on the team would work on those elements. Another point is that you can get your product fully customized from scratch. You basically tell us what you want and we facilitate that process, we build it. Another backpack, this time it has a logo on it. This one is actually for Johnny Daly, the comedian. We have new ideas every day, and new ideas can come from any member of the team. Myself, my brother, Kamali, anybody who is a part of the team can, if they have an idea, we try to make it a space where everybody can share it, and we discuss it as a team if we think that can work or not. Would this look good for who? Where in the market? Who would buy this? And so, we search internationally, we look on what is out there, and we tweak, we come up with new designs. So we look at the trends, so the trends are telling us people want something that expresses their style. We look at how gadgets, technology, those are parts, make up the trends. And so we try to make our bags to accommodate and to facilitate these trends. So we've used social media a lot. The Facebooks, the Instagram, the Twitter. We've used a lot, and so we get a lot of orders from online, through Facebook, through all those social media platforms. And so a logo, your colors, you want to be consistent with the postings online. You want to make sure the quality of your photos are high. And because some people believe that things that come from Jamaica are not of the highest quality, we have to make sure we push out with the best and we look good. Not just for the Jamaican market space, but regionally and internationally, because that's our outlook. It's very big, our plans are big, and so we have to act accordingly in terms of building the brand. Yeah? And so we have a lot of customers online, and we try to keep them up to speed and interact with them as much as possible. Sometimes things will be very hard, but it's why you have a business plan and it's why you have a broader vision. So when things get tough, you reflect or you go back to that broader vision and understand that difficulties and struggles right now is a part of the journey towards that destination, right? And so that keeps you grounded. There will be obstacles, and we've had days sometimes when you don't feel like coming to work. You ask yourself, does this thing really make sense? and you question yourself, but you go back to the vision as well. It's why it's also important to have a strong support group, right? So that when you feel like that you can bounce ideas and you can get a pickup from your friends. Sometimes you need to grow the business and you don't know where the funds is going to come from, but you have to try and be creative. So you look for whatever grants are out there. If you feel like you can take on a loan, then you do that. But you have to make sure you get sound advice as well, so you have a strong support team around you. Failures, I'd prefer to put them as lessons learned along the way. Like, I didn't study manufacturing, so it's new, right? And so we've had to learn almost on the go, read a lot, follow different pages that are in the manufacturing sector, talk to people a lot. So how you go about hiring, perhaps you could have done things differently, you know, but with experience you learn. And it's very important that as a young entrepreneur you have persons around you with experience you can talk to and share with. And luckily enough, we've been lucky to have people around us to talk to so that we don't make any really bad mistakes. And my previous experiences in other businesses have given me a foundation on which to correct certain things in this company. All you prevent it is talking to the experts and ensuring that you have things documented. Again, when you have a plan, so you need to have your social media plan, you need to have your factory guidelines, you need to have all your spaces set out, which we had an engineer to come in and advise us on how to set out the space, because we don't think we know it all, and we don't know it all. And how you avoid mistakes is basically planning for it and mitigate, how you put things in place to see how you can mitigate against those mistakes. Even then you still have them, but it's to be quick to pick them up whenever they happen and to deal with them in the moment. I love the team, I love the work that they do. We try as much as possible to look out for each other because we really believe in their development. We have a lot of things that we want to do. We want to provide even more exposure and more growth for every single member of the team. We want to make sure that they're properly taken care of, because we not just only have external customers. We see our team as the internal customers. The staff is very important. So if you're going to talk about growth, you want to make sure that everybody's enjoying what they're doing, right, and having fun with it, and look forward to making a quality, unique product for each and every customer, right? And then growth strategy now, we're talking about partnerships with certain government agencies, so we can get into the schools. We're talking about partnership with individual schools to do co-branded products. The most successful form of marketing has been the social media platforms. Outside of that, we've done events, expos, back-to-school events, festivals. Those work as well, where you can directly relate with your customers. But social media and event marketing are the two main ones that we've used. We've gotten some PR in the newspaper as well. We've been interviewed for television and the radio. Those work as well. But social media is I would say, those platforms have been our biggest success story, our biggest platform. We're aiming high, right? And we're willing to make whatever sacrifices we need to make. Not selling ourselves short or anything like that. We're serious about this. We're serious about making an impact and doing business for good. So People Profit Planet is very important for us, and we'll do whatever is in our powers to get the business to the level where we want it to be, which is an internationally recognized and known company. For us, it's been very practical. For us, is making sure that we take care of our customers, and once you do that, take care of the staff as well. Those things are simple and basic things to having a successful journey as an entrepreneur or building a successful company. Here, we define success in terms of the impact that we have on our community, our communities. Right? We define success in terms of the number of people we're able to employ. We define success in terms of the number of scholarships that we'll be able to give. Right? We define success in terms of how much of what we make we're able to give back to vulnerable communities, to young people who their parents can't afford it. I don't know if I have a greatest fear. I don't get up any day thinking about fear. I know I have dreams and desires and desire to build a solid company, a reputable company, one that is known for making a solid impact, as I've mentioned before, one that is making money, one that is profitable, and one that is taking care of its environment, and one that's taking care of its people. And that is how I feel fulfilled. Definitely how I would feel fulfilled and feel as if we're in business to make an impact. Because a business exists to solve problems, right? A business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we lock down the store and just call it a day.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point with Kalila Reynolds and Dennis Chung. Dissecting the issues, offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
What motivates me is getting up every day knowing that I'm doing something that's making an impact, that's contributing to something that's positive. We're, in my knowledge, we're building a legacy. We're building a company that has the potential to go big. That motivates me. The potential, the possibility of contributing to somebody's life, to employing others, to contributing to a scholarship, to contributing to the schools. Those things I'm passionate about, and they motivate me each and every single day. My family, they encourage you and motivate you, inspire you to do better and to be the best. We never born with gold spoon, you know, we weren't born rich, but they've always told you that you can be whatever you want to be and to be your best self. You know, and so we're just working to make them proud. And once they are proud, then we can feel as if we've accomplished something for them to feel good about. My favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur, wow. You're more in control of your time sometimes. Sometimes you don't have any time. But again, you have a platform where you can contribute to people's life. Again, my drive, passions, inspiration, and in terms of Brescia, the team, I don't currently sew, I don't stitch. If I try to stitch, I might stitch up my finger then. But a strong team, I'm a very driven individual. I've always been that type of a person who see something, see an opportunity, I'll go for it. I think just the thought of having started this company on our veranda, myself and my brother, and look at where it is now, where we are employing people and we're looking to employ more people and to train more people, where in a year we've done over 1,000 bags, $5 million in sales. We have our first retail arrangement now. We're looking to grow. People have ordered bags from overseas. We've sent people in Scotland back to school in our Brescia bag. We've sent people back to school in the US in a Brescia bag. You feel proud and you feel as if you're making an impact, you're making a mark, you're leaving a legacy. I love to watch football, I love football. So whenever a big match is on, I'm watching it. I love to perform as well. I'm a dub poet, I'm a spoken word poet, so I love the stage. I love to share with an audience. I enjoy doing that. And to share with young people. Get a chance to talk to a group of young people, man, and to reason with them. I enjoy doing that. Love to go out, eat some good food. I love country. I love nature. I love the river. Sometimes I want to relax. I just step myself away from town and just drive, go out in the bush and just relax and be at one, you know, with nature. Those are the things that I love. What makes me happy is being alive. What makes me happy is seeing the people around me being happy. What makes me happy is being in front of an audience performing. You see that they're into what you're doing. What makes me happy is coming to work at Brescia every morning and see smiling faces and people enjoying doing what they're doing. Those are the things that make me happy. What makes me happy is when we can partner with a Rotary or a Kiwanis or whatever the service club may be to give back to a school or a community. When we can donate some bags to persons who've done well in school. When we can contribute a scholarship. Right? When we can give back a percentage of our profits to different communities that need it. Those are the things that make me happy. Future plans for the business. All right, so people may know the company as a bag company or a backpack company. We're not only a backpack company. We started with bags, but we have plans of moving into, and we've started in some ways the gym bags, the duffel bags, the travel bags. We get orders every day for handbags. We're excited about starting a line of handbags for our ladies looking for those wonderfully made Brescia handbags, baby bags. We're excited about expanding the product line. We're excited about offering more to each and every one of our customers. We need more machines in the space so that we can train and employ more people to boost our production capacity. We want to give those persons at home who know they can sew, we want to put them to work. The tailor, the dressmaker who only have some work in back to school season, outside of that season, we want to use your talents, we want to use your skills. We want to be able to say, hey, if you don't have an industrial sewing machine, we can provide that for you. And we get to the raw material, just make sure you get the work done at the highest quality, and we can put you to work in what we're trying to build, what we call the veranda industry, put communities to work, give people opportunities to make an honest living. And we're looking to build foster partnerships with schools right across the island, maybe regionally, maybe internationally. We want to do more exporting. So we want to form strategic partnerships in the diaspora to begin with. We have some cool, some wicked lines working on that we know people will love. Look out for the Roasted, a new bag line. Look out for the Turned. Right? We'll have some interesting things. Look out for technology being incorporated into the products as well as we move forward. Pick right and start. Right? Don't overthink it. If you have an idea, you see an opportunity, go for it. If you don't think you have the skill set but you see the opportunity, find somebody to collaborate with. A new mantra of mine, collaborate to be great. Don't think that you have to do it on your own. Right? You don't need to have millions of dollars. No, we didn't start with that. We pooled what we had and we started small on our veranda. Right? You can get it done. I owe a lot. I have to say thanks to people at the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship. They've done a lot in terms of giving me a business platform. I have to big up the Jamaica Manufacturers Association as well. People like JBDC. You know, these organizations have been great support. You need support. So find them, get advice, join the programs, join an incubator, put your plans together, put a solid team together, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and just start.
Designing your home into a vivacious abode that charms everyone can simply be a matter of choosing the right tiles. This week we showcase a homeowner's choices as well as take a look at the variety of options at Creative Building Finishes.
I am Karen McCormack. And I am Naoka McCormack. And welcome to our home. Today we'll be showing you all around our home. So, Mommy, I'll do the kitchen. Here is my favorite place. I love to cook. But here we go with the details. We use mosaic tiles in order to accentuate the countertops. The flooring, it matches back with everything we have in here. We chose the style, the countertop, the mosaic tiles, the tiles on the floor, because it is trendy and it gives us a warm feeling when I'm in the kitchen cooking. In here we have the guest bathroom. It is small, but yet still we wanted to show off the different textures tiles that we have in here. Right here we have details, mosaic details, as well as another detailing right here. In here is the guest bedroom. The tiles are just the same as the kitchen coming in.
This is my statement piece. When I say statement, this is my favorite part of all the house. This is my stone-cut wall that was done to my suiting and liking. This is my here that my guests sit in. Whenever they are here, then they can relax and then enjoy my statement piece. This is the powder room. This is another bedroom, but this is my master bedroom. Originally, I wanted the wooden floor, but upon research, I found that the wooden floor was not suitable for ground level. So I decided to go with the wood plank tile to get that natural look. Hence, I use this. This is my master bathroom. Paintings, if you look around, you can see that everything inside here coordinates. I just love this bathroom. I chose the rustic look because I wanted something non-traditional.
This has been a little tour of how we use various styles to enhance our beautiful home.
More Home Sweet Home when we return.
Home is where all the sweetness, silliness, and beauty of life happens. Discover your style and express yourself with furniture from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Visit any of our 2 locations at Ligony Kingston or Fairview Montego Bay. Find the most exquisite range of furniture in varying styles to suit your needs. So tell your story with elegant and affordable lounge, bedroom, dining pieces, and more from the Ashley Furniture Home Store. Here at Ashley, this is home.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Welcome back to Home Sweet Home. Andrew and Friends from Creative Building Finishes has so much to share on tiles and using them to enhance your home.
I am Andreen France. I am the Marketing Officer at Creative Building Finishes, Jamaica's premier tile boutique. This project is a very special project. With this home, there was literally every space in the home, from outdoor to indoor, is purely tiles. It is a very traditional, contemporary home. We did from the driveway, which is outdoor tiles, come all the way into the kitchen where, you know, we have the mosaics, the backsplash, and everybody knows that, you know, that has to go perfectly. You step a little further into the dining and living room area where, you know, is basically the attention space. It is the entertaining space for guests. And so there had to be a wow factor. The homeowner wanted a wow factor for this space as well. And that's where we have this lovely gold split face lead stone. And that's why that was selected. And it goes perfectly with just the entire style and feel of the home. Any of the bathrooms, whether it be the master bath or the powder rooms that are adjoining the living area. And for a powder room, it has to be very intimate, but at the same time give you a feel that you're not being boxed in. So the tiles selected for there were very light to keep it very open and airy feeling. The master bath had different elements, wall tiles, mosaics. There is, you know, a little tub area as well as the walk-in shower. And so every aspect of the home from outdoor to indoor was very special, and the location made it just a dream for, you know, our customer as well as for Creative to just come fully and just do everything and have her dream be what she wanted it to be. There are three main categories of tiles. There is ceramic, porcelain, and natural stone tiles. Natural stone tiles are made of the natural material that we basically harvest or dig out of the earth. So there is, you know, marble, there's travertine, there's limestone, there is slate, there is coral stone. And those are naturally made stones that are basically cut and shaped and honed into fitting whether your floor or your wall. The difference between ceramic and porcelain. A porcelain tile is, they're both clay-based tiles. A porcelain tile is actually a tile that is baked for much, much longer. So it is more dense, meaning that it is more water resistant. You won't have water absorption in it. It makes it also harder. It's very tough. In itself, it is harder to break or to scratch. It is more high traffic resistant. And so it's a stronger tile. Basically, a porcelain tile is a stronger tile than for a ceramic tile. Normally when somebody thinks about tiles, for the most part, they think about floor. And within the category of floor, you know, there are your outdoor, which, you know, for your patio, your veranda. Aside from that, there is pool area, because persons don't think about your pool as, you know, whether it's outdoor or indoor, they just think about it as somewhere else. And you tend to use mosaics for those. We have special compressed glass mosaics that are specially for the pool, where it is water resistant. It can deal with any of the, you know, the chemicals that you may use to clean the pool, as well as, you know, the heat itself, because outdoor gets very hot. Aside from floor tiles, you have wall tiles. And wall tiles have invariably two categories. You have a wall tile that would have the same shape or kind of texture as a floor tile, and you have mosaics. And mosaics tend to be, you know, the small adjoint pieces to a mesh that you would normally put on your shower wall or your kitchen as the backing, which it is called a backsplash, which is the term we use for your bathroom as well. You tend to use that for whether a feature wall, the entire section in the bathroom, and funny enough, mosaics can also be used for your shower floor or your entire bathroom floor, depending on how much slip resistance you need in that particular area, or if you were using natural stone. Natural stone is also another form of tile that can be used on either wall or floor. For this split face ledge stone, we wouldn't use this on the floor. This would be horrible on your feet. So there's no way that we would recommend that. So this is definitely a focal point feature stone for your wall primarily. For your natural stones, you'd use marble, travertine, some ledge stone, coral stone, which tends to be used for outdoor areas as well. It can be for wall and for floor, but depending on the area, we'll, I guess, let you know what the best bet to go with is. So are there tiles for your roof? I wouldn't say roof per se. I would say we have tiles that can extend to your ceiling. So there's a trend that is going with a number of bathrooms where they'd like to extend the tiles from the ground, sometimes just from the floor, up onto the ceiling. So they want to carry the one unison complete look from the bath all the way to the ceiling. So you'll see that in standing showers as well as the walk-in showers. So feature wall will go from the ground all the way to the end of where the shower is, to the limit of it. And so there's no break in the look at all. So it is more appealing to look at. There are major advantages for selecting tiles for your home or for commercial space as opposed to going with laminate or as opposed to going with wood. Living in a tropical island, for example, first thing, we have changes within the weather. You know, we have our rainy season where it can get very moist and cold. Wood will expand, and so you'll get little spaces in between that. Not to mention the fact that wood itself, you have the threat of water damage. So if any area should be flooded at all, you know, your wood is ruined. There's termites. There are a number of areas that struggle with that, and with wood look tiles in particular, you are protected against those elements, and it does last longer. Laminate itself, if you have heavy furniture and you know you like to rearrange your home a bit, pulling the furniture against the laminate will scratch it, and you don't have that issue with tiles. Laminate itself, because it is so much like wood, it can also expand and contract, and so you may have, you know, a bit of issues with it. It's also not as water resistant as tiles. In terms of pricing, ceramic tiles tend to be more economical as opposed to the porcelain and the natural stone. Natural stone, because it cannot be man-made and we can't just make it like that. We literally have to take it from the earth. So the value of it is much higher. And so that would make it, you know, just like diamonds as opposed to a cubic zirconian. You know, that would make natural stone the more higher end, more expensive. The porcelain, because of the process that it goes through and because it is more durable, would have it below the natural stone, and the ceramic is more economical, more budget friendly.
We take our final break on Home Sweet Home. We'll be right back.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV. The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
Thanks for staying with us on Home Sweet Home.
There are a few things that you need to consider when you're purchasing tiles. First thing, where are you tiling? You know, your tiler or your consultant or, you know, who you're purchasing from, you need to know. Is it indoor? If it is outdoor, it's recommended that your tiles are slip resistant. Is it going to be exposed to rain? You know, that kind of thing. You want to know moisture and water resistance that you need to consider. If it is your pool area, then you know it definitely have to select tiles that are able to, you know, deal with any weather issues, can deal with water, any chemicals that you might be using. You need to specify as well, if it's indoor, where inside. If it is just your living room, you know, your high traffic areas, you want to think about, you need a tile that is going to be resistant to high traffic. If you're going to be tiling your wall, what wall is it that you're tiling? If it is you're doing a kitchen backsplash, then you know they're ideal tiles that you need to consider. Wall tiles, for one thing, are not to be used for the floor in any way at all. Anywhere where you're gonna have high traffic walking, wall tiles are not ideal. They are not made to uphold the weight any kind of abrasion that will happen, or any furniture, or even just walking overall. Wall tiles are not to be used for the floor, so that you have to take into consideration. It goes down further into the specific rooms if you are tiling your shower area. So let's say the shower floor itself that you're tiling, you also want to consider that that area has to be slip resistant as well. You know, water is going to be there, so those things need to be taken into account. And even a little further than that, if you are tiling with natural stone, it is always best that you use white thin set, because the stone is natural and it is porous. And so if you use other shades or other colors of thin set, depending on the color of the stone, it may absorb the color from the thin set and come through and give your stone a different look. And so ideally you want to use white thin set when you're using natural stone. Natural stone, of course, because it is also porous, it's not stain resistant. And so any kind of stain you might get on it, you want to make sure that it is protected before any such spills, whether it be your wall or your floor. So you want to have it sealed. So you want to make sure that your natural stone is sealed as well. So there are a number of things that you need to consider before purchasing a tile, or when you're purchasing a tile, to know, okay, am I using the right tile based on the area I want to tile, and how am I protecting it? When you've purchased your tiles and you've installed them, you want to know how it is that you're going to care for your tiles so it's looking polished, if it is a polished look, or brand new, or just looking good for as long as you want it, for as long as it can. And there are a number of tile cleaners that are available at Creative Building Finishes, of course. So because we supply, you know, not only the tiles, but the installation material, as well as the cleaners and the sealers for the tile. So you want to, for your ceramic and your porcelain tile, you want to make sure that you have your cleaner for it. We have grout cleaners for that. We have, as well as for your mosaics, which you'll tend to have a little bit more grout lines in your mosaics, depending on, you know, which one you use. You want to have your grout cleaner as well. That also helps to keep your tile looking new and not dingy, or, you know, because the grout color will change. And so we have special cleaners for that. Another way to keep your tile looking fresh and new for as long as it possibly can is through having it sealed. Your tile will get faded and will change color over time, and I'm specifically talking about your natural stone. And so to make sure that it is stain resistant and it keeps that bright color, and so it's not as faded as well, it's always best to seal it. And so that helps to keep the look of the tile as bright and as beautiful as it can for as long as you'll have it installed. I wouldn't suggest for all your tiles to use your soap powder or for bleach in particular itself. I mean, we can all clean our tiles, you know, your floor tiles with, you know, your regular, you know, disinfectant and, you know, floor cleaners that you can pick up at the supermarket, which is fine. If you have natural stone, though, I would not suggest, it is highly not recommended, it's not recommended at all to use chemical or abrasive cleaners, because they will help to damage the stone. It will break down any sealant that you may have on the tile that is protecting it, and so you'll have to possibly regrout, or reseal the tile. And so that in itself is not recommended, whether you're using travertine or you're using marble, you know, limestone, coral stone. It is best not to clean any of your natural stone tiles with bleach, with lime, with anything abrasive, because it breaks down anything that is protecting the tile, as well as it will harm the stone itself and change the color. It will also change the color of the stone. So top trends when in tiling, the first one, for the most part, I'd have to say wood look. The suppliers that we get our tiles from, which is from, you know, Italy, from Spain, from Brazil, they have high definition printing, which will make the tile look so much like wood you won't believe it, especially for the darker tones. But absolutely you can't tell the difference between, in many of them, the tile or if it is wood. And so wood look tiles are just in demand. They're just at the top of the trend. Aside from that, you also have a lot more persons these days, when they tend to think about tiles, they think about floor and maybe the kitchen backsplash, but much more, you know, it is an alternative to paint. Paint doesn't last as long as a wall tile. It gets dirty easily. You have to constantly be cleaning it. And in cleaning it, sometimes you end up taking off a bit of the paint itself, and so it changes the color. You know, this is something you have to spruce up, you know, probably once a year, because whether it be outdoor or indoor, you know, the elements, the sun will burn it out. And so a trend is to do, whether you're doing a feature wall or if it is, you know, the exterior of the house, to have three-dimensional tiles are it for tiling. You're seeing more of them in, you know, commercial spaces, whether it be hotels, which we have a number of projects that have turned out beautifully, because when you come to with a residential area and wherever it is that you're going to be welcoming guests. So if you're at home, you're welcoming guests in your living room. And so you want something that will just create a conversation piece or will just wow them and let them feel, you know, I like being here. And so, you know, a feature wall is it. And those 3D tiles make the biggest impact you can believe. The importance of tiles in your home, in creating, when you've made that step and you have your own space, you want your space to feel like yours, or you want it to feel warm, or you want it to reflect your personality, you want it to reflect your style. These are the elements of the home that you can't change, and so you want to be able to make sure that they represent you and your style. And so the importance of having that is not just from where it is that you're walking, but what you're seeing when you're walking through the house, you know, when you're going to prepare a meal, how you feel about cooking in that space. You know, when you're, you know, using your cutting board or you're putting in your spices for whatever dish over the stove, you know, you want to feel like you're on HGTV. You know, everybody wants their home to feel like their dream home. And tiles play a very important part in keeping that look and feel, because it's about the look and the feel of not just the texture of the tile from the touch of it, but also from, you know, how it makes you feel, how it makes you, the persons that you are entertaining feel. And because it has to be, or it tends to be there for a very, very long time, you know, it is important the quality that you select, and that it is also what you can get to make your home sweet home.